Hi, and welcome to week 7, interpreting wisdom text in the Old Testament. And before I go into it, and I'll talk some more when I do the week 6 summary, but I really feel that folks put a lot of personal thought into their discussion post on how they feel about prophecy, and I really appreciate all that hard work. So now we're moving from prophecy into wisdom, and we have a couple assignments and a discussion post. We're nearing the end of the course, so I know that everybody's energy level is beginning to drop. Stay the course, finish well, and even though I know that this is a lot of information that you've been handling over the course, stay with it. We're almost to the end, and then you can have a quick break for Christmas. Okay, so assignment 7.1 is comparative or comparing wisdom literature. We're going to be looking again, like we did with Hammurabi, but this time we're going to be looking at an Egyptian text, the teachings of Amenhotep. And I want you to keep an eye out for parallels and similarities between this wisdom text from Egypt and the Bible. So just like there is a legal text that has laws that are very similar to the Bible, we also have a wisdom text, actually several, that are very similar to what we find in the Bible. So I want you to keep searching until you find at least 3, and be sure to write down any similarities that you see as you read the text. Based upon your study of Amenhotep and Proverbs, write a 3-page essay that reflects upon the following questions. What do you think about the fact that there are parallels between the book of Proverbs and the literature of the ancient Near East? Are you surprised, encouraged, horrified, fascinated? And then how would you explain these parallels? So just like with the comparative study you did between the law codes, I would do the same thing here. I would talk about the context of Amenhotep. When was it written? Who was it written for? What types of wisdom literature is contained? I would do the same thing with Proverbs. When was it likely written? Who was it likely written by? Who was it likely written for? And then I would discuss, and you might even add a table, but it can be done in paragraph format. How are these texts similar or different in both what they include and their context? And then what do you think of that in the third section of your paper? So context, content, and then a analysis of what you think. Now, as always, these are informed opinions, what I think, not uninformed. So I'm looking for engagement with the reading. I'm looking for engagement with outside research to inform your opinion on what you think about the parallels. Why do they exist? Are they really parallels or not? And why would the Bible contain information that is very similar to extra biblical texts? So down at the bottom, I mentioned be sure to include outside research. So our second paper, assignment 7.2, about obtaining wisdom. I want you to read Proverbs again, chapters 1 to 8, very carefully, then write a 1 to 2 page paper answering the following question. What lessons should we learn about what we should do to obtain wisdom? Be sure to include some specific examples from the biblical text about the source, the purpose, and the method for obtaining wisdom. So really it's a couple page paper about what is wisdom, how do we get it, why do we want it, and what's its purpose in our life. Be sure to include some outside research and be sure to add a conclusion discussing a modern application for wisdom. In other words, after someone has read these 1 to 8 chapters in Proverbs, how would we apply that to our life today? Okay, so finally, we also have a discussion post to evaluate modern wisdom. One of the main questions in the book of Job is how a just God could exist when suffering is so common on earth. And I want you to write a one-page post explaining how the book is designed to appeal to a skeptical audience. In other words, I'm arguing, or at least I'm putting forward, that the book of Job is controversial because it appeals to an audience that doesn't believe that a God would punish someone who was, or at least provide a challenge like he did for Job, who was undeserving. Job did nothing wrong, and yet God allowed this horrific thing to happen, where all of his family, all of his business and livestock, everything around him is destroyed just to see how Job might respond. So what's the point to the book? What can we as modern day Christians take away from the fact that this happened to Job, and that there are earthquakes and floods and random acts of violence upon people who do not deserve it? So how do we respond to that today? First post due on Friday. All subsequent communication due on Monday. I am noticing, and this is not unusual as the semester goes on, that the number of posts decline. I encourage you to stay engaged in discussion, even though I know you're getting tired at this point of the semester. Okay, don't forget your course of evaluations. We have a couple weeks left in the course, but be sure to take a few minutes to put down your thoughts on how the semester went. Feel free to email me or call me with any questions, and I look forward to seeing your papers. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.